So we'll start the expo off with a scene. Well, a lot of these are scenes from France, but this is my local village of Chassignol. This was a few years ago at a brocante where the village comes together and offers some of their old antiques and unwanted items. Some good, some bad, but it's quite interesting to walk around. In the UK, I suppose, very similar to a car boot sale, but in the village. So it's quite a nice little get together for the village. And it was a lovely sunny morning, so nice long shadows coming across here. And yeah, a beautiful village in France. And here we've got one from one of mine and Kate's regular walks where we walk through the woodland. Quite often it's that time of the evening when the sun is coming down, and that's what we've captured here with the beautiful light coming across and that dappled sunlight coming through the trees here. And watercolour is a wonderful medium for just capturing atmosphere, not going into detail, and trying to create a sense of the evening light. So a lot of these paintings were done this summer, so hence there's a lot of warmth and sunshine in these paintings so far, but we have got a couple of winter scenes coming up as well, so stick around. This was a painting, obviously, of the tree, softened the background, put the focus on the tree here, and the challenge here was trying to portray that form of the tree, where we used the cool and warm colours to create that sense there. And a lot of these paintings I've picked here I'm going to be taking to my local village where I've got an art exhibition, a cafe where we have our French and English conversational group. So it would be a nice talking point to talk about the watercolours and meet some more locals. So it's a well-attended cafe. It's an old house that has been converted, and it's got a lot of character in it, so hopefully it'll be a nice exhibition. And something we still see a lot of in France are the markets, where people buy their produce, fruit, vegetables, and even livestock. And it's also have modern stalls as well, selling jewellery, etc. here. But this is sans tout, and again, sunlight features in this painting. So a lot of the paintings I do here in France feature sunlight, which is one of the draws to France for Kate and I, was the wonderful summers we get here in France. It's a little bit colder in the winter, but it's worth it for that sunshine in the summers. And it's very rural where I live, so I'm always surrounded by fields and often cows. Not many sheep here. We had lots of sheep in Wales when I lived in Wales, but it's all Limousin cows here. And this scene was all about the overall morning mist here. That purple and the orange, I think, really goes well together with that warm green. And it was quite a challenge painting cows. I've always struggled with them, but I think getting there, quite pleased how they came out. And it relies a lot on the sparkle, the white paper left behind with watercolour. So again, a lively scene with cows there waiting for something, probably some food from the farmer. And one of my favourite little tricks in watercolour is having that sunlight coming through the trees, where you get the translucent colours of the warmth of the sun breaking through, and we get that strong contrast of light and dark and the sparkle there. Watercolour is a wonderful medium for portraying light, and I think that's the measure of successful watercolour for me. Does it have a feel of light? Does it make you feel of summer or even winter? And a lot of interesting things happening here. A lot of with watercolour technique is just letting things happen and not fighting it. You'll always lose if you fight with watercolour. So again, perhaps that makes me think of somewhere in the south of France, in a mountainous area maybe, or maybe just a little bit further south to where we are in the Creuse. And I'm always fond of painting seascapes, from Cornwall in the UK originally, so I spent a lot of my childhood at the sea and the beach, and I lived in Wales on the coast for a long time as well. So it's a bit of a change for the last 5 years, being a long way from the sea, but we occasionally venture to normally Bordeaux if we want to get our fix of the seaside. But lovely crashing waves here. Again, it's all just an impression, trying to capture movement on this one rather than perhaps the sunlight, although we have got a nice feel of light on this, but on this scene it's more about the movement really. And another walk in the evening in France in that summer evening light. that any of you who haven't visited France, I'd highly recommend coming here in the summer. It's beautiful, and it's got a mix of everything, which is what we like about France. That we've got lots of countryside where we are here, but we don't have to venture far to end up into sort of medieval villages or rocky mountainous areas. We've got the Pyrenees as well, if you want some mountainous, beautiful views, and obviously lots of nice coastal scenes as well. So there's my sales pitch for holidaying in France. Again, all about the light and some lovely effects going on here in the watercolour. And again, another one from Chassignon, my local village, and this was celebrating the rural festival, where the local gentlemen get the old tractors out and old farm machinery and show how it was used in the past, celebrating the old ways that made France what it is today. And again, it's a great sense of community where everyone comes together, and sometimes we've had a little stall there exhibiting artwork. So it's again a chance to show some artwork. And again, Chassignon, but snow this time. That it didn't quite snow as much as this. I added a little bit of snow for the painting. It's all good fun, but still in hope that we'll get a decent amount of snow maybe over Christmas. You never know. But got a nice, quiet, calm scene here, and again we have a play of the coolness on the ground here and the warmth in the sky. And these obviously houses are all very old in the village, so lots of signs of wear and texture on there. And I put a couple of lone figures there just walking down. I think there was once a boulangerie here years ago, so perhaps that's where they were heading. And this is one of my favourite oil paintings, although it's actually a master study. John Singer Sargent painted the same scene in watercolours. His was far superior than mine, but we try. And I thought it'd be fun to have a go at painting it in oils, taking inspiration from his brushwork. I think I learned quite a lot by looking at John Singer Sargent paintings. That's the sort of style I try to emulate, that confident brushwork that he has. So it's quite nice. I'm not sure whether that was himself that he painted, or perhaps a friend who was out painting with him maybe. And this was a recent painting of snow. Again, I invented the snow, that we never had that much snow. So it was actually, I went outdoors and painted on location and captured an autumn scene. So I used the same composition, but studied some Edward Seago snow scenes and so on in the past, what I've done, and tried to put that into this painting, which I think worked quite well. And it has a nice winter feel to it, so perhaps I'll add this one to the winter exhibition next week at Chassignon, my village. Hopefully that'll go down well. So in this painting we go off to Wales in the UK, and this is Criccieth. We stayed in our camper van along the coast, and I think this was an evening scene that I obviously took some photographs and worked from the photograph. And you've got this lovely sparkle on the water there with catching the light, and obviously the distant mountains there. So a nice fond memories of camper vanning in Wales. And this was painted out on location, obviously autumn, and lovely yellows, oranges and browns in there with some nice cool greens. And I was outdoors painting on location, and I actually used this reference for my winter scene, which I showed in the expo as well. And when you're outdoors painting, you've got to be quick, so it actually can create a very spontaneous painting with lots of broad, bold brush marks, because you haven't got time to start getting little brushes out to do all the fiddly stuff. So it's actually a good lesson for artists to go outdoors and paint, because it forces you to just put down what's important, and the idea is to try and take some of that into the studio with you when you're painting. And this was a studio piece that the golden hour doesn't last very long, so probably working from photographs is more realistic. I think Monet would probably go out and paint for sort of 10-15 minutes at a time at the same time of the day to get his scenes. Obviously he didn't necessarily have the luxury of the cameras we've got today, so whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that it perhaps makes us work in a different way to the masters, but doesn't necessarily make us as good as them, maybe, I don't know. But maybe one day I shall try that, go outdoors and paint, and go the same time each evening over the course of 3 days. And in the summer, when you look at the forecast, quite often we get days where you could rely on the conditions being the same. So that's a scene local to us, so I could possibly do it with that scene. That it's just a track just down from where we are. There's a pond, and there's a track goes up around the pond. So that would be a possibility. But yeah, quite a nice scene to have on the wall. Now the weather's gone a bit cooler to remind us of the warmth. So a much larger scene, this one, and again this is inspired by my local village of Chassignol. The men at work in Chassignol at the rural festival. Well, it's actually the cider festival. They're making cider here, so pressing the apples and then pumping the apple juice out ready to be made into cider. So a nice sort of action shot there. And again, a larger scene on a panoramic. This is somewhere where we stayed once in our camper vans, and I actually cropped the image quite a bit to get this scene, and it's all about capturing that distant view with the sunlight coming across here. And I quite like the ornate frame for this scene here, and it's quite nice to go large sometimes. That I've recently moved into my studio for the winter that's got some heating, which is quite small, so I can't actually do some large paintings, but I've recently renovated this studio where I'm in at the moment, which is a little bit chilly in here at the moment, but I have insulated it so it's not as cold as it has been in the past. So I will aim to get some heating in here somehow, and then I can move back in here permanently, and then I can do some larger paintings as well, because I enjoy doing larger scenes as well. So let's finish this expo with a snow scene, and I think I had Monet in my mind when I painted this, with those brush marks and the play of the warm and cool colours. So although this is obviously a cold wintry day, it still has a feel of that warmth coming through there as the sun is going down. So hopefully you enjoyed that exhibition, and let me know in the comments what you think if you're watching this on YouTube. And thanks for being a member if you're supporting me on my website or on the YouTube membership. So until next time, bye for now.